People frequently fail to appreciate their possessions until they are no longer there. It's a tragic flaw in human nature. It's a tragic blind spot. You gave her everything, your time, your unwavering loyalty, and a love that asked for little in return. You showed up for her in ways that most wouldn't, and she treated it all like it was replaceable, something she could throw away without a second thought. Time and time again, you stayed hoping she'd see what she had before it was too late. Now the roles have reversed, and she might realize too late that this was her final opportunity before losing you forever. In this video, we'll talk about how to get through this tough situation. With the strength and clarity of Stoicism, you can make sure that your peace of mind stays intact no matter what. Let's start with the first reason why people only see value. Why people only see worth. It's peculiar that people often overlook the value of what they have until it's gone. People often fail to acknowledge the significance of their possessions until they are lost. It's as if they fail to see the brilliance in front of them until it escapes their grasp. She had you. She had your devotion, your unwavering presence, your care that went beyond words, yet she didn't truly see it for what it was. Why? Because she assumed you'd always be there. That's the tricky part of human nature. We tend to take for granted what feels constant, what we assume will never change. But here's the truth. You're not a fixture. You're not some unyielding force in her life that exists solely to endure being taken for granted. You're a human being, a choice, a gift, and someone worthy of recognition. And when she chose not to appreciate your worth, when she failed to realize the privilege of your presence, she made a choice, consciously or not, that carried consequences. Nothing in this world is guaranteed, not even the people we care about most. Yet many fail to live by this understanding. They assume the people who love them will always remain. No matter how they are treated, you gave her chances, opportunities to see you, to value you, to match your effort. But there comes a point when enough is enough, when someone repeatedly takes your presence and kindness for granted. They must face the reality that love isn't an infinite resource. Love, like trust, must be nurtured, and when it's neglected, it withers, that you have been carefully pouring water into a beautiful vase every day. But over time, you notice cracks appearing. Instead of fixing the vase, she ignores the damage and lets it leak, thinking that you'll keep filling it anyway. At some point, you have to stop, not because you're raged at her, but because you respect yourself. This isn't about punishing her. It's about keeping your peace and knowing how much you're worth. People don't have an endless supply of patience and forgiveness. They have limits. Knowing your limits is not weakness, it's strength. Walking away isn't about pride, it's about dignity. When someone repeatedly fails to see your worth, you don't stay to prove it. You let your absence speak. Stoicism becomes useful in this situation. Epictetus taught us that our response to others' actions is our sole control. You couldn't make her value you, but you could choose to value yourself enough to leave. By leaving, you silently convey to her the depth of her loss. You made the right decision to leave an undervalued situation, even if she doesn't realize it until it's too late. Moving forward, keep in mind that someone else's inability to recognize your worth does not diminish it. You are not their safety net or backup plan. You are someone who deserves love and appreciation in the present, not just in retrospect. If she couldn't see that it was her loss, she may never fully recover from it, and that's okay. You'll leave with something she can't take, your self-worth. 2 points of respect for how selfish she was. Her selfishness kept her from seeing the damage. This harsh reality will ultimately liberate you. Her selfishness wasn't merely an error or a fleeting diversion, made in the heat of the moment. No, it was a pattern that showed how little she cared about anyone else's needs but her own. Deep down, she knew her actions were hurting you. She wasn't blind to the pain she caused or the stress she put on your heart. She saw it, and yet she didn't stop. Why? People like her prioritize their own wants, living in a world where they don't consider the emotional impact of their choices on others, and only consider accountability when it's too late. But let me make one thing clear. This was never about you. It was her inability to appreciate the work and love you put into her. That's her flaw, her burden, her blind spot. It says nothing about your worth and everything about her limitations. Marcus Aurelius once said, "When you wake up in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, and to love." She failed to recognize the blessing of having someone like you in her life. She failed to recognize the unique opportunity to create something significant, which turned out to be her final opportunity. She slipped away. She didn't notice, but it was painfully clear to you. Picture a person. They were given a rare, beautiful and fragile golden vase, but instead of cherishing it, they carelessly handled it, letting it gather dust and knocking it over as if it were made of cheap glass. They didn't realize its value until it broke, beyond repair. In this story, you are the golden vase. You gave her something special, but she didn't see it until it was too late, and maybe she still doesn't. This realization is your turning point. Let go of the blame you've been holding around for a long time. You can't stop thinking about what-ifs. What if you had been more patient? What if you had tried harder? What if you had been someone else? Let those thoughts go. She made those decisions based on her own flaws, not yours. But don't mistake this release for anger. Stoicism teaches us that being frustrated only keeps us stuck in the things we want to get away from. Epictetus reminds us that what happens to you doesn't matter. What matters is how you respond to it. Your strength lies in how you move forward, how you transform this pain into growth. It's time to let go of the past and embrace the self-discovery you've gained. Being strong enough to leave when she couldn't love you is what defines you, not her inability to. One day, she might look back and realize this was her last chance to make things right. But by then, it will be too late. You'll have moved on, wiser, stronger, and surrounded by people who value you for who you are. Let go of the hurt, doubt, and blame, and let her choices carry you. You have so much more ahead of you than what's behind you. Today is the day you decide to walk forward stronger, smarter, and with the unwavering knowledge that you deserve so much better. Now, take a moment to think about what this realization means for you. How does it change how you see yourself, your journey, and what you deserve going forward? Leave a comment below with your ideas, or if you don't know what to say, just type, "I choose to release what no longer serves me." Recognizing that your opinion matters is the first step to growing. Let's help each other on our way to healing and strength. The third step involves transforming into a force she never anticipated. Getting ready for the storm. She never thought it would happen. There's a storm inside you, right? It's been quiet for a while. Over time, your strength gradually grew, yet you managed to conceal your emotions for months or even years. You kept quiet through the pain, the disappointment, and the unanswered questions. You told yourself, maybe tomorrow she'll see, maybe tomorrow she'll understand. But tomorrow never came, and neither did the change you hoped for. You gave her chance after chance, showing up with patience and understanding, even when it was hard. You did your best for her. She didn't accept your love, loyalty, or hard work. She didn't understand the weight of your silence, the depth of your care, or the quiet sacrifices you made for her. She didn't see that every unspoken word was a seed of the storm growing inside you. But now the storm is out of control, and here's the truth. This storm isn't about chaos or destruction. It's not about becoming angry or searching for answers. This storm is about change. It's about getting back your power, your sense of self-worth, and your peace of mind. You no longer need to wait for someone to wake up and realize your worth. It's time to focus on yourself and let this storm fuel your growth. Think about how much you've been through. All the times you stayed when you wanted to leave. All the nights you stayed up wondering if you were worth it because she couldn't see it. Those times weren't wasted. They were preparing you for this one. So, what do you do now? Instead of waiting for her to change or allowing her to control your happiness, you choose to focus on yourself and overcome the challenge. You transform the hurt, the rage, and the frustration into something amazing. You start to rebuild yourself. You go to the gym, push yourself to your limits, and find your confidence again. You focus all of your energy on your goals. You become someone you didn't know you could be, stronger, wiser, and untouchable. And when she sees you again, which she will, she won't recognize the person you're seeing. She'll see the version of you she never believed in, the version she didn't know she was losing. It could be on social media, where your quiet successes speak louder than words. It could be through mutual friends who can't help but notice your change. Or it could be through a chance meeting where your confidence and peace in your eyes tell her everything she didn't want to admit. She lost you, and even more. Importantly, she lost the chance to grow with you. So let the storm rage. Let it wash away the past and fuel your future. When she realizes what she lost, it won't matter anymore because you'll be too far ahead, too grounded in your growth, and too satisfied with your own life to look back. This is your moment, not hers. Live it. Become it. She will feel awful about her. It's a silent storm that doesn't show up until it's too late. For her, regret won't just linger in the background. It will get louder and more painful as time goes on. She didn't realize that her last chance with you wasn't just another chance. It was the chance. It was the last bridge before the divide became permanent. Now that the bridge has been burned, think back to all the times you showed up for her, made her feel valued, supported, and seen. You were consistent. You were patient. You tried to understand her even when she pushed you away. She mistakenly thought that your presence would always be there. She mistook your forgiveness for weakness. She thought that your effort was something she was entitled to. But here's the truth. Nothing and no one lasts forever if you take them for granted. It's not just about losing you. It's also about realizing too late how much she lost. Every lie she told herself to justify ignoring you, every time she chose indifference over gratitude, and every time she didn't put in as much effort as you did. It's all coming back to her like a mirror reflecting her choices. The reflection in the mirror is unsettling, and the silence you left behind is equally unsettling. Left, it's so loud that Marcus Aurelius once said, "It never ceases to amaze me." Everyone loves themselves more than others, but we care more about what others think. This lesson teaches us that her regret does not diminish your worth. You were charitable because you loved deeply and gave from the heart. You have done excellent work, and no one can take that away from you. You don't owe anyone else anything more than what you've already given. On this one quiet night, she looks through old pictures or reads old notes. Realizing she had something special and important, yet let it slip away, will weigh heavily on her. She'll wonder why she didn't fight harder to keep you, why she ignored your efforts, and why she thought you'd always wait. But in her regret, she'll have to face an undeniable truth. She didn't just lose you, she lost her chance at something real. That's the result of her choices. But here's the key. Her regret is hers to carry. You don't have to carry it with her. As a Stoic, you've already made peace with this. You acted with integrity, gave her your time, effort, and patience, and did everything you could to build something lasting. That's where your responsibility ends. It's clear. You don't owe her an explanation, an apology, or a second chance because you've already provided her with what she desired, an opportunity to equalize your energy and reach a mutual understanding. She didn't choose you, and now you've made your own decision. Find peace in knowing that you left the situation with your honor, your values, your integrity, and your heart. Let her live with the weight of her choices, and let yourself live with the freedom of knowing you have so much more to give, just not to someone who didn't see how valuable you were until it was too late. Have you ever been in a situation like this, where someone didn't see how valuable you were until after you left? How did that experience change your view or boost your sense of self-worth? Please let me know what you think. Leave a message with your story, or if this really speaks to you, just type, "I choose myself," as a promise to keep working on yourself. Peace and honor. Your voice is important here, and other people can learn from your story. Let's keep talking about number 5, turning pain into strength. Pain has a strange way of shaping us. At first, it feels like it's tearing you apart and scattering the pieces where you can't reach them. You wonder if you'll ever be whole again, but if you let it, pain teaches you something profound. It becomes a silent but powerful mentor, showing you that the times you feel broken are also the times you have the most potential to rebuild, not as you were before, but as something stronger. Every scar you carry, whether it's on your heart or soul, is a sign of how strong you are. These scars don't indicate a lack of success. Rather, they serve as evidence that you persevered and survived. You didn't give up under the weight of it. You learned, and now you stand on stronger ground. The Stoics knew this deeply, and their wisdom speaks directly to this journey. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." To put it more simply, what stands in the way advances action. Pain isn't just something that's stopping you from growing, it's the way forward. The heartache, sadness, and sleepless nights full of doubt aren't the end of your story. They're the start of a change. Say you gave her all of your time, love, and support. Maybe she didn't appreciate it, or maybe she thought you'd always be there for her. But then something changed. Maybe it was her constant lack of interest, or the way she took your presence for granted. You realized you can't carry the weight of the relationship alone, so you made the difficult decision to step back, not out of anger, but to protect your peace and sense of worth. What she didn't know was that that moment was her last chance. When you pulled away, you weren't just walking away from her, you were walking toward yourself. You chose to set limits and put your own happiness first. The silence you've chosen isn't empty, it's a statement. I refuse to beg for what should be freely given. I deserve reciprocity, respect, and real connection. She may not have realized at first that her silence was saying a lot. Now it may be making her think about what she lost and miss things she once didn't notice. But here's the tough truth. Her understanding is hers to have, not yours to chase as you move forward. Remember that pain doesn't make you bitter, it makes you better. Use it to sharpen your character and make your resolve stronger. Stoics believed you should only control what you can, including how you handle problems. For example, you can't make her value the chance she had, but you can make yourself grow from it. Let this be your mantra. We did not lose things we took for granted, we set them free. Let your pain help you grow, and may your future be full of love and respect. Do not forget the problem. It's easier than you think to attain your goals. 6. When she tries to come, she will come back when she tries to. It might not happen today or tomorrow, but one day, when the silence is too loud, when the nights are empty, and her mind wanders back to what she lost, she'll reach out and tell you she's sorry, that she's changed, that she finally understands how valuable you are, and she might even say she never stopped loving you. But by then, you will not be the same man she knew. You will have grown beyond her grasp, and the person you've become will no longer seek what she offers. Let me paint a picture for you. There's a man who gave everything he had to a relationship. His time, his heart, his vulnerability, only to be met with indifference for years. He stood by, hoping she'd see his efforts and appreciate the love he brought into her life, but she didn't. Instead, she chose to walk away, believing he'd always be there as a safety net, and in the beginning it hurt him deeply. The silence she left behind was unbearable, and he wrestled with questions about his own worth. He wanted closure, answers, validation. But instead of chasing her, he made a decision, a stoic decision. He turned inward and asked himself, what is in my control? Her choices were not, her actions were not, but his reaction, his growth, and his healing. Those were within his grasp. He focused on himself. He picked up new skills, prioritized his health, nurtured his mind, and strengthened his spirit. Slowly he began to find peace in the very solitude that once tormented him. Months turned into a new version of himself, one that no longer needed her to feel whole, and then, as if on cue, she reached out. Her words were what he once longed to hear. "I've made a mistake, I miss you. I was wrong about us," but instead of feeling the he once imagined, he felt a calm detachment. Her regret wasn't a triumph he had anticipated. Rather, it served as a reminder of his significant progress. When she says she's sorry, don't let your feelings control what you say. Consider whether what she did fits the respect and love you now expect from the man you've become, not the man you were before. You see, regret is strong, but it's not always the right thing to do. Even though she may now see how valuable you are, it's important to ask herself if she valued it when it mattered. Her words may feel validating, but true validation comes from the life you've built without her. Consider this perspective. You served as her steadfast and unwavering support, but she didn't appreciate stability until the foundations began to change. She didn't realize it was her last chance to hold on to you. Now her regret is hers to carry, not yours to fix. Your journey has moved on, so let her reckoning be hers alone. The past is a lesson, not a place to live. As a Stoic, you don't think about what was or what could have been. Instead, you focus on what is and what lies ahead. What lies ahead is a life where your worth is no longer a question, but a certainty. If you've made it this far, it's clear you're serious about growth, about knowing your value, and about protecting your peace. Take a moment to think about your own journey. How have you gotten over past rejections? How have you turned silence into strength? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else. If you don't know what to say, just type, "I am my priority." That should affirm and remind you of your power to live a life that honors you, the loudest word. Every step you take, every goal you crush, and every bit of joy you create for yourself is like a symphony she didn't know she'd one day hear from the sidelines. Imagine this. She's scrolling through social media or hearing your name mentioned in passing, and there you are, thriving in ways she never thought possible. Maybe she thought you'd fall apart without her, but you're rising higher than ever. That's when it hits her. She realizes what she lost and how she let it all slip away. That's the beauty of Stoic wisdom. It's never been about her. If you want to be a decent man, stop arguing about it and become one. Your success isn't a message for her, it's a message to yourself. The quiet reassurance that you've reached your potential and respected yourself. Instead of making her regret it, you thrive for yourself. Think about every late night spent working, getting your dreams done, every small victory you've achieved on your own, every stride you've taken when others didn't believe in you. serves as evidence that you've built and earned this, and with each success, her absence in your life becomes less significant. Never mind what she didn't see. Focus on what you've always been worthy of. Imagine a situation where someone overlooked you. Perhaps she perceived you as overly kind or lacking in ambition, leading her to abandon you, believing you would remain in your current position. Instead, you turned inward, embraced the grind, worked in silence, and grew. Now you're excelling in your career, discovering new passions and making real connections. She finds herself questioning how she ever misunderstood you. That's the power of silent success. Not a shout, but a whisper. Echoes for Moral Stoicism teaches us that happiness doesn't come from approval from other people, but from making sure your actions are in line with your beliefs. Your success and growth are not acts of revenge, they are acts of self-respect. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthwhile goal in life, and we can only reach it by ignoring things we can't change. You cannot change her awareness or her regrets. You are empowered to rise, build, and keep going forward. As you go through this journey, remember that her inability to see your value was never your fault. You don't need her approval to know how valuable you are. Instead, let your life speak loudest. Let what you do be the last chapter. If she ever manages to write, it will be too late, as you will have already progressed to the 8th chapter by then. It won't be because you wanted it to be, but because you already are. You are strolling off for a good reason. Giving up isn't a sign of weakness. It's not giving up or running away from a task. Walking away is one of the strongest acts you can take. It is an act of choosing yourself when someone else cannot or will not. It's a declaration of your worth, a recognition that your time, energy, and heart are valuable, and that staying in a situation that drains you is not loyalty. It's self-neglect. Think back to all the times you waited, hoping she would change, all the conversations you had in your mind but never voiced, all the patience you gave. And maybe this time she'll finally understand what I bring to her life. You stayed long past the point where most people would have left because you believed in her potential. You believed in her ability to see you and the love you offered. But here's the painful reality. She didn't see you, and she might never, for whatever reason, fear, self-absorption, or not being ready. She chose not to meet you where you were. She chose to take you for granted, believing you'd always be there. But no one can wait forever. No one should, because every day you wait for someone to change, you lose a piece of yourself. When you walk away, you're saying, I will not stay where I am not valued. I will not shrink myself to fit into a life where I am merely tolerated and not celebrated. It's like being in a boat with someone who refuses to row. You're putting in all the work, hoping they'll eventually pick up the oars and help you move forward, but they never do. How long can you keep rowing alone? At some point, you have to decide whether to keep wearing yourself out or jump off the boat and swim to shore. Walking away is like swimming to shore. You're choosing your survival, your peace, and your future over their indifference. We must protect our peace of mind at all costs, as Stoics teach. When you walk away, you're not abandoning her, you're freeing yourself. You're making room in your life for people who will see your worth without you having to prove it, who will cherish you without you having to fight for their attention. You're walking toward a life of clarity, purpose, and mutual respect. Let her stay where she is, entangled in the choices she made and the opportunities she let slip away. That's no longer your responsibility to fix. When she realizes what she lost, and she will, it will be too late, because you will be long gone, building the life you deserve. And here's the beauty of walking away. It's not just an act of strength, it's an act of self-love. You're proving to yourself that you value your own happiness enough to walk into the unknown, trusting that what lies ahead is far better than what you leave behind, but by then you'll be far ahead. Every step you take is a step closer to the life you've always deserved. A life filled with love, respect, and people who see your worth from the beginning, so keep walking. The road ahead is brighter than anything you've left behind. Number 9. Building. Take the beauty out of the building. From the ashes of destruction comes beauty, and from chaos comes order. The ashes and clarity of what you've been through aren't just reminders of the pain. They're the perfect place for something amazing to grow. Every scar you have, every heartbreak you've been through, and every ounce of pain you've felt didn't just happen to you. It happened for you. Life gave you these tools to strengthen and stabilize you, not just signs of suffering. These bricks form the foundation of a strong, meaningful life that no one, not even she, can break. Life doesn't wait, and neither do you. When she let her final opportunity slip away, she might not have realized what she had, or might have believed that you would always be there, waiting, hoping, and holding on. You now have a new door that leads to a future where you don't need her to feel complete pain and heartbreak. You're meant to walk through pain and heartbreak, not problems. Every tear, every sleepless night, and every moment of doubt are the raw materials for your transformation. You're not just healing, you're building a life that will stand as a monument to your strength. Imagine what this future looks like. You're standing taller than ever, not just surviving but thriving. You've taken the pieces she left behind and put them back together into something extraordinary. Perhaps she believed you would crumble without her, yet here you stand, demonstrating that your value was never dependent on her approval. Think about a sculptor who works with rock. The raw stone might look rough and ordinary, but each hit from the chisel gets it closer to its true shape. Your pain, no matter how severe it has been, is like that chisel cutting you into a masterpiece. Perhaps she will look at you and realize what she lost, but it will be too late. She had her chance, but she didn't see it for what it was, her last chance. It's not enough to just move on. We need to move up. You took the broken pieces and united them to create something unbreakable. She may never know what she lost, but you will know exactly what you've won. You will have clarity, power, and a future that is all your own. Let her absence fuel your purpose, and her rejection light your fire. The remains of what was tomorrow will be even better because of what you did today. One day, you'll reflect on this moment and take pride in the person you've transformed into, the one you were always destined to be, and that, my friend, is a tale worthy of a decade. This marks the start of a new chapter in your life, one that she was unaware of. It's time for your new chapter. This was her last shot. She didn't realize how valuable what she had was until it was leaving her hands. She may have realized it too late, or never. But here's the bigger truth. This is the beginning of your most important story. You reaffirm your identity and values at this point. The past has passed, you've made mistakes and learned lessons, and now a new chapter begins. What's ahead is a blank page, ready for you to write a story of growth, strength, and unwavering resolve. No longer about her or proving anything, it's about you and your growth. Now is the time to start living the life you've always wanted, but may have put on hold for someone who didn't see your worth. How many guys let rejection or heartbreak get to them? How many people stay stuck in the cycle of self-doubt and questioning their worth because of someone else's blindness? You're not simply navigating through this adversity, you're actively immersed in it. You're not just moving on, you are the one who can write the next chapter in your life. Your next chapter will not be filled with sorrow or anger, but rather with the transformation into a man who commands respect from both others and himself. The Stoics taught us that pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. You cannot alter her actions, such as the way she squandered this opportunity or failed to recognize your worth. However, you have the power to alter how you respond to her actions. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you control your mind, not the things that happen in the outside world. You will feel stronger once you understand this. Use your power to change your actions, thoughts, and personal growth now. The rest is just noise. Every ending has a story inside it, the start of something new. Never think about the past again. Leave the questions behind, the unhealthy habits. The time and effort you invest in trying to convince someone of your value is significant. Only carry what helps you move forward. The lessons she gains strength and knowledge from enduring a fire. One day she may realize what she lost and wish she had made different decisions. Before long, your life, growth, and peace will be your greatest victories, not to prove anything to her or anyone else, but because you owe it to yourself to live that way. So, what will you do next? The answer is clear. You'll move forward. You'll take every scar, every lesson, and every ounce of pain and turn it into something extraordinary. You'll transform into a man who masters his own fate, not dwelling on past losses, but concentrating on future opportunities. Your story is just beginning, and no one, not even her, can take away the best part of your life. This is your new chapter, not hers or anyone else's. It's yours, and it's going to be your masterpiece. This chapter is about rising, becoming unstoppable, and proving to yourself that you were always enough. Now, write it down as we depart. Finally, let's take a moment to think about the more important lessons here. Most of the time, issues in relationships and love reveal more about ourselves than the other person. When someone doesn't value and appreciate who we are and what we bring to their life, it's not a reflection of your worth, but rather of their inability to recognize the gift they possess. What matters is how you choose to respond. Every disappointment is a chance to grow, realign with your values, and protect your peace. By walking away from situations where you're undervalued, you're not only creating distance, you're telling yourself that your time, energy, and love are too valuable to waste on someone who doesn't value them. It's not about anger or revenge. It's about respect. The silence you choose to abide is not empty. It is full of strength, clarity, and respect for yourself. The Stoics remind us that we can't change how other people treat us, but we can change how we react. And when you react with grace, resolve, and self-respect, you come out stronger and wiser than before. Let this moment be a turning point. Use what you've learned about self-worth, setting limits, and getting clarity by stepping back to create a life that reflects your highest potential. You know your worth. Others don't need to tell you. Thanks for joining me today. I'd love to know what impressed you most about this journey. Let me know in the comments below. Additionally, if you found this video helpful, remember to like it and share it with someone who might benefit from this message. Take a moment to watch the videos on the screen before you leave. They go into even more detail about similar topics and can help you grow and learn more about yourself. Remember that every step you take is one more toward the life you want. Until next time, don't give up, stay strong. Keep going toward becoming the best version of yourself.